Hi, welcome. I'm Taryn, and today I want to share with you some thoughts around menstrual health products, period products, and particularly my journey towards using period pants and some thoughts around that, because to be honest, when I thought about first using the period underwear, I had a sensation that it was kind of gross, that cleaning them would be a bit icky, and really this has a connection to the menstrual shame or the period shame, our body shame that we experience as women. And I kind of want to share my journey towards using them, because when I consider it and contemplate it, I have been working with women doing internal pelvic floor assessments and therapy for a little while now, and that was well before I became comfortable with using the period underwear. And before that, I was a hospital physio, and so I was a cardiorespiratory physiotherapist, and part of my role there is to, suction sputum, to take a look at people's sputum as they cough it and say, oh, that's a thick consistency, how much is it, how difficult is it to expectorate, and that sort of thing. It was quite au fait with and comfortable with bodily fluids, urine, vomit, sputum. And so it's just interesting that you could be quite comfortable with all of that at a professional level, and that over time, certainly initially when I was a much younger physio, being a women's physio was something that was completely out of my mind, because I thought it was a bit like, I wouldn't want to do vaginal assessments, and that's only for a particular type of person who feels very comfortable with that. And at the time, that wasn't me. And given postnatally and also in my journey as towards a women's physio, I was also very comfortable with using all kinds of products. Like for myself, I used a TheraBond. This is to help reduce pelvic floor tightness. It's an internal massage device, basically for helping to massage the walls of the pelvic floor and to help relax and do some trigger point work and that sort of thing. I was happy to use vaginal cones and weights and different things like that, because that was helping me get back to strengthening my pelvic floor for the purposes of running and movement. I was happy to experiment with pessaries and things like that, because again, that was helping me to improve my body's function. And when it came to looking at more, the reason why I first wanted to look and consider using period underwear was because it was more sustainable. And I have been using tampons for all of my life, because pads just didn't feel comfortable for me. I didn't like the bulkiness and the sensation of them. And so initially I was looking at tampons and thinking the best I could do was using organic tampons. And so yes, sometimes I still do use these on occasions, but really what was holding me back from using anything like this was the thought that my period blood was gross, and that it would be like, oh, imagine changing these and washing them, and how would that be like? And what it took was a simple first step of me to just try them. And this is not an advertisement for Modibody. I love their products, and I work with a lot of women who also find them very useful and helpful, and have found that they are quite life-changing. But this is more about, you can see all the things that these are not what we would consider even normally accepted things that we talk about and use and experiment with, but it's because I'm a very functional movement person that it was easy for me to go there and be like, okay, I can see the purpose in using this. I can see the goal, the outcome, very results, of that. But when it came to using something more environmentally friendly and sustainable, I had to look at this option because in my mind, a menstrual cup was not something that I really wanted to use because of the downward pressure that it can create on the removal, and I didn't want to have anything that's creating that potential for my pelvic floor, and that's a personal choice. But yeah, it was the shame or the association of period blood being gross that made me sort of balk at the thought of using these. And it just is so interesting that I would have been okay with other people's vomit, sputum, feces, urine, like that, all of that in the hospital environment didn't faze me. And all of this didn't faze me. And so what I'm trying to say is, one, sometimes when we have a bit of shame attached to our period or even just our bodies in general, sometimes we don't even see it or notice it, because I would have said none of that really bothers me until it came to the thought of using the underwear. The second thing is that what you become comfortable first with, it's not like a linear approach and it's like, oh, you first find your comfort here and then you explore here and then you explore here. It's not like that, because of course you can see that I was comfortable using weights and things like that before I was comfortable with using menstrual products like the period pants. And for some women, this would be like the most comfortable option, and these would be like a little bit like, whoa, that's kind of more confronting. So it's not a linear approach. Sometimes there's this association with your body being gross or dirty and we don't even know it. And then the last thing is that all it took for me was to be open and to be curious about using something different. So giving myself the opportunity to try, and then once I tried, I was like, actually there's nothing gross about this. This feels very natural, feels very easy. I basically rinse my period underwear in the shower, and then I take it to the laundry where it goes basically straight into the wash when it's ready. And so that's what I want to share, is just a little bit around giving you some thoughts to create the conversation either in your own self or with somebody else, but to become curious as to how do you see your period, how do you see experimenting your body with different ways, how do you view your body, because for me it was very functional, had to be very functional, whereas now that's not the case. I have a completely different relationship with my period than I did a couple of years ago. And so that there is just some things to explore, thoughts, questions always welcome, and I'd love to hear from you.